Hello again. It is I should be Pope. In response to the video by Sir Brodiness, which was made in response, in turn, to my video entitled Jesus vs. Buddha, more than meets the eye. Now, before I blow Sir Brodiness' argument completely out of the water, I would like to thank Sir Brodiness for taking the time to respond to my argument in video form, as it allows me to free my time and stay away from reading. Now, since Sir Brodiness claims that I am not humble in starting his argument, which is an ad hominem attack and a blatant attempt of an appeal to emotion to try to turn you viewers against me, I have decided to take the high road and not make any ad hominem attacks against him in my video. Now, unfortunately, these are only the first in a series of logical fallacies that Sir Brodiness commits in the course of his argument. Furthermore, his insistence that my evidence is post hoc ergo propter hoc is itself a straw man argument. Instead of confronting my evidence, he simply claims that it is not evidence at all in an attempt to sidestep what I said. Perhaps he is scared that I really am right, or just too stupid to think of an actual response to anything I had said. Now, while I admit that if Jesus of Nazareth and the Buddha only had a few similarities, they could easily be written off as coincidence, I must point out that the evidence I presented in my last video, as well as the greater amounts of evidence beyond what I said, prove that this is no mere coincidence. If they had had one or two things in common, then perhaps it might not be true. But if I had over 20 different points of fact, and at some point you have to accept that this is too much for coincidence alone to explain. For instance, I have less than 20 things in common with, say, Napoleon Bonaparte. Thus, we can safely assume that I am not Napoleon Bonaparte. However, if I had more in common with him, say, if I were French, if I were a great general, if I was born in the mid to late 18th century, you would have to at least entertain the possibility that I am Napoleon Bonaparte. Likewise, one must look for the similarities and determine which argument holds more water based on the known facts. I listed a plethora of examples. Sir Brodiness listed less than 5. Here, let me put it in a way he might actually understand. This is a pie chart marking the similarities between Jesus and Buddha versus the similarities between Jesus and Jim Caviezel. Now then, as you can see, Jesus versus Buddha, the purple section of our pie chart, is an overwhelmingly large area. Whereas the orange, which represents Sir Brodiness' argument of the similarities between Jesus and Jim Caviezel, is very small and very sloppy, just like his argument. Furthermore, Sir Brodiness seems to forget a few of Caviezel's other movie roles. In 1994's Wyatt Earp, Caviezel played Warren Earp. If Sir Brodiness is correct, and Jim Caviezel is Jesus Christ, don't you think that he would have starred in the other Wyatt Earp biopic to come out in the early 1990s, Tombstone? Not only was this latter film significantly better than Wyatt Earp, but the title, Tombstone, would have been perfect for the Jim Caviezel Jesus Christ correlation. However, Jim Caviezel wasn't in Tombstone. Clearly, Caviezel's 4 movie roles and his initials are hardly enough to define a correlation between him and Jesus of Nazareth. And it's Sir Brodiness' argument that is the real post hoc ergo propter hoc here.